Hello, I'm going to be talking about shakuhachi, history and the music, a little bit of breakdown. This is from me, Christian Cortez, and Jose Ibarra, and we're going to be going through this real quickly. All right, so let's talk about some physical attributes. The term shakuhachi actually means 1.8 shaku. It was actually intended for a unit of traditional measurement. It's about 30.3 centimeters, a little under 2 feet, but for mine it's going to be 54 centimeters. It's actually made from traditionally bamboo root, but some people make different types of hardwood. Modern ones use sometimes PVC, which is what I'll be using today, and you usually blow at an angle on this notch. This is actually not where your mouth and your chin rests. It's actually blowing right here, and you're blowing air out. We'll go over that later. It uses a minor pentatonic scale, really common in East Asian music. You can see how syncretic it can be. And like I said, you're blowing at an angle with that angle there. History of the shakuhachi music, 17th to 18th century. So the gagaku shakuhachi is an array of musical instruments. So this actually derives from Chinese instruments, but this is a Japanese version of a flute, and it has 5 holes as opposed to other ones. And many Komuso priests were also called the priests of nothingness, which is why they wore these woven baskets over their head. We can also see right here, we have pictures of samurais and some art graphics. And let's go to the next slide. So let's go a little bit more history continued. The Komuso monks were granted really special privileges by the government, and this was actually seen as a monopoly. And the shakuhachi was exclusively used originally for spiritual training, meditation, religious. But over time, it did change, and also you had to actually be a member of the samurai class, and they would test this when if you were to be among them. And during the Edo period of 1603 to 1867, the shakuhachi was a primarily instrument associated with Komuso and disenfranchised samurai since they couldn't carry their samurai swords anymore. Let's talk about the uses. The shakuhachi was really used in medieval Egypt. It was very popular. It was associated with Zen Buddhism. It had a lot to do with meditation practices, like I said, classic works of Zen music, and it had a strong influence of Ma, which is the idea of nothingness, and don't just focus on the music being played, but the space and silence. It's very important. Silence is very important in shakuhachi music, not just the melody played. Also, wavering tones. A lot of people do this effect by moving their mouth on the mouthpiece and making a really cool effect. And since many samurais lost their knighthood, many of them use this. You also read shakuhachi music top to bottom, right to left, a little bit different from Western. Let's go ahead and watch a quick video. All right, so as we can see, this got a little bit different bulging on the bottom, a little different material that they use. Sometimes they have wooden bands around there for the cracks. Go ahead and go to the next slide. Go ahead and talk about some social issues. So the Komusa belong to a subsect of different type of Buddhists, and like I said, samurais that were no longer being in battle. And whenever these Komuso, that's what they were called, would wear these woven baskets over their head, that's when they would go to beg or travel or to be open for knowledge. Like I said, they were open for special privileges and monetary advantages amongst other people. They were claimed as thugs by some, and they were sometimes corrupt with the government, and they were actually said to be spying on the government at the time. Like I said, they were not liked by many. There was attempts to made by the Fuku to improve, but it was already too much done. This is just a quick Edo period, like I said. So let's talk about some professional roles. So Kamusu temples eventually stretch across all Japan, with many temples very popular. To prove one's samurai status, like I mentioned before, you actually had to be granted permission and had to be in the ranks, and you had to recertify yourself with fees and other applications every 6 months. So you couldn't just be a Kamuso player or a samurai. You had to prove it and test it. So let's talk about some more. Continued. Many Kamusu players found a way to integrate into society. They felt disenfranchised. They felt useless. They were warriors, nobility. They felt really important. And when the Edo period came, they just felt useless. They had no use of their sword. They lost their respect and nobility. So this is why some became shakuhachi teachers. and lower class ones would typically beg for money. And we're not going to go too much into this, but different aesthetic and stylistic features of the shakuhachi. Many people would describe wabi and sabi as different ways to describe as rustic charm and certain rust, the way it sounds, and that's the way people would describe them. And there's three main genres. We're gonna go through them real quick. Honkoyuku, or Zen, which is the original traditional pieces. Sankoyuku, if I'm saying that correct, or traditional chamber music. This is when there's a little ensemble, the koto, the shamisen, the shakuhachi. And the third one is Shinkoyuku, which is new modern music, which is same kind of ensemble like, and also there's more influence of Western culture. So let's go and finish this slide out real quick. So we got traditional priests, and many of those were traditionally repertoire in the beginning, but there was still influence of classical music from Western European, and a little bit of jazz mixed in there and more modern. And sometimes people would paint their shakuhachis with different red. They would sand it down with acetone lacquer. They would make their own appearance. So that's why some of them are bent intentionally and they look different. Go ahead and watch a quick video on how I made my shakuhachi, and I hope you enjoy this. Important that you have someone holding this like a two-person job, unless you have. All right, this is part two of it. So once you have the coupling in here, dried up like this, you want to drill the holes now. So the measurements for the holes are very important. We're going to be comparing the holes to the actual PVC pipe. This is including that. You don't count that. Count just this 54 centimeters. So first hole you're going to cut, make sure it's straight, is going to be 23.35 centimeters, which is what this one has right here. So this one's a little longer. We haven't cut it yet. So this first one on the bottom, which is right here, is going to be 23.35 centimeters. The second one right here is going to be 26.5 centimeters. And the third one is going to be 32.9. The fourth one is going to be 37.6 centimeters. And the fifth one is going to be 42.9 centimeters. This is going to, I'm showing you how to make a PVC shakuhachi out of PVC pipe from Home Depot, Lowe's, local parts places. So when making this, you got to be very precise. This is the first one I made. As you can see, it's not really that good. I cut too far in. So the stuff you're going to need is a 3/4 PVC pipe from Home Depot or Lowe's. And you're going to need a, you're going to need a 3/4 coupling. They sell these as well in the plumbing section at Home Depot. You're going to put it all the way in, as hard as you can, like so. But before that, you got to make sure this is 54 centimeters. Some people make it 56, but we'll be doing 54 centimeters long. A 3/4 PVC. That is not including this. This is just this. Okay. Once you put the coupling inside, you're gonna put it really tight all the way, and it'll look something like this. It'll be inside. So once you push this inside, get it really tight in there. And then you're gonna put some plumbing glue or any type of super glue. You're gonna put the super glue on the inside of the coupling, so that way when you put it in, it sticks there. Leave it about 10 to 15 minutes. Then after that, once that's drying, you're gonna go ahead. You can use a hacksaw like this. You can use a hacksaw to cut it to 54 centimeters. So just cut it. And then any rough areas, you can just use some sandpaper and just sand it down to make it nice and smooth. So yeah, the materials you'll be needing is some measuring tape. You're going to be cutting the actual, these actual holes with a 3/8 drill bit, and you can use a impact machine. And then you also need some smaller drill bits to get the holes started. Some sandpaper, PVC pipe, hacksaw, some glue, and you can either do it with a sand. reference the video before. I told you the measurements for all these 4 holes. Now the last 5th hole is going to be on the bottom. So make sure when you cut the 5th hole, it's not up here. It's on the back of the instrument. That'll be your thumb. Okay. So once you're doing that, it's time to cut the mouthpiece. This is the mouthpiece. That's why we got the coupling. You're going to want to write this down. You're going to cut the first one at a 30-degree angle. Get a protractor. You don't need one. It's important. If you do have one, it helps you. And you want to measure it out, 30-degree cut. And then the other one is going to be a 75-degree cut. So right here, like that. Okay. So I'm going to start off with a 70-degree angle. It's very smooth. It's basically a little line. You're going to hold this. Once you mark it up, you're going to hold it like that. And you're only going to cut this coupling. You're not going to cut the actual PVC. You don't want to cut in here. It's bad. You just want to slowly go in like that, okay? You're only going to cut a little bit. So make sure it's 70 degrees, very lightly. Sand it out. 45, we cut a little bit into it.
30.
Barely any. 30, sorry. 30, which is right here. It's sharp, so you're going to have to angle it almost literally like that. But it's right there. It's basically like that, as opposed to that. Okay? Then after that, you're going to get like a little groove in here. It goes like that. Sand that off a little bit. And then you'll have the mouthpiece. This is the angle like this is going to be for your chin. This is going to be the top. Okay? With a 70-degree angle. So the one that's very like that, that's you don't want to play with the steep. This is just for a chin, for your mouth. Okay? So thumb, pointer finger, ring finger, and same thing. So you have to have like a very specific way to like breathe into it. And I'm a string player. I play guitar. I don't play any wind instruments. But as far as I know, the reason why you made this 45 steep angle is because you're going to be blowing, half of your air is going to be blowing out of the instrument on top, and half of your air is going to be blowing into the instrument. So you want to have it kind of angled a little bit down. And some people like to do this way, kind of restricts airflow, or like that way. And you're basically blowing half in, half out. In the instrument comes out. So I'm just going to demonstrate. Alright, I hope y'all enjoyed that, and that's basically how I made my PVC. A little bit of work on the mouthpiece to get that good tone, but we can see clear pictures changing. And I hope you enjoy this video and educational. Thank you.